Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting in a bit. We're just gonna give the few other participants to hop in. Just stay put, and we'll be starting in a bit. Aishang Kabaho, thank you for watching. Yes, Albert, good morning. Lake Ariel, good morning as well. Yes, Manay Lian. Okay, actually we're a bit late as scheduled, so I think we're good to start. Okay. Okay, good morning everyone. By virtue of introduction, I'm Juan Leonardo Britannico. I will be your guest lecturer today, and I'm gonna try to touch base on actually subjects falling under the area of sociology of crimes and ethics. Okay? There. That is, I will be rationalizing board exam trial on sociology of crimes and ethics. And yes, I'm acknowledging Attorney Ferraro for inviting me as his guest lecturer for today. The number one question. Okay, but first things first. We have to take mental note that in an MCQ type of exam, there are two parts: the STEM and the alternatives. When we say STEM, we are referring to this one. This is actually the part in which we identify the problem or the question. We call that the STEM. Okay, so that's where we identify the problem. And these are the set of alternatives. Alternatives is actually consist of one best correct answer, and the three other are actually distractors, if I may say. Distractors in a sense that they may sound correct, they may sound true, they may sound close, or maybe plausible, but they are just distractors. So there is only one correct answer in an MCQ type of exam. Okay, so here the question number one is the view that crime is a function of the decision-making process in which the would-be offender weighs the potential costs and benefits of an illegal act. Okay, so that's the STEM. And the set of alternatives are liberal feminist theory, rational choice theory, relative deprivation theory, and philosophic calculus. Okay, now, what do you think is the answer to that question? I'm gonna give you a few moments or few seconds, everyone, to comment your answer down below. And then afterwards, we will be discussing the answer, the correct answer. What do you think is the answer? The operative term there is actually decision making. So what do you think is the answer that we are eyeing for? The operative term is decision making. You might want to comment your answer. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, what do you think is the answer? The answer there is rational choice theory. Why do you think so? Hi, Sir Brian, good morning. Razel, good morning. Crime Rents, good morning. Okay, why do you think rational choice theory is the answer? Okay, why not liberal feminist and why not relative deprivation theory? Well, liberal feminist theory is actually one of the many forms of feminist theory. Just to name a few, we have like the Marxist feminist theory. We also have the socialist feminist theory and the radical feminist theory. Now, this one is liberal feminist theory. What do we mean when we say liberal feminism? What is being looked at in a liberal feminism movement or theory? Here, it is called liberal feminism because actually the advocates are not eyeing on or are not advocating on changing the structure of the society. They're good with that. What they are aiming for is actually the change in the existing laws in which they deem or in which they judge like preventing them from achieving equality. So that's what we meant when that's what we meant when we say liberal feminism. And that's not the answer we're looking for. because there was never a mention of equality, liberation, emancipation of women from bondage of slavery and whatnot. There was never a mention of that in the stem. There was never mentioned, so we will be discarding that. So that is a distractor. Okay, so next, the relative deprivation theory. What does it hold? This theory hold that group of people that they feel like they are being deprived of other material gain, status, privilege, right? They feel like it has been deprived, and they are likely, or in all likelihood, they are going to form an organized movement in order to achieve those rights and privileges that has been deprived to them. Okay, so that is relative deprivation theory. Now, again, that is not the answer, because there was never a mention of deprivation and aiming for change in the stem. So, what about philosophic calculus? Philosophic calculus is actually an outright distractor for this item. Why? Hi, Rich. Good morning, Rich. Madam Rich. Good morning. Why am I saying that philosophic calculus is an outright distractor? Because it is actually, if I'm not, I think it was propounded by Jeremy Bentham. Jeremy Bentham is the one who actually propounded utilitarianism. So when we say philosophic calculus, it is actually an algorithm that measures the degree of pleasure that one may experience in a single act. So that's not the answer to the question. So we are now left with the letter B, which is the rational choice theory. And what does it hold? The theory holds that, or it views crime as a rational choice. Why not? Well, we make decisions every day, every minute, every second, every moment. We make decisions. Now, this theory maintains that social phenomena are actually results of individual choices. It is actually a result of cost-benefit analysis, negative, positive evaluation, in which the would-be offender thinks that the benefit that he will be getting will outweigh or will overweigh the cost of the act. So that's it. It is a function of the decision-making process in which the would-be offender weighs the potential costs and benefits of an illegal act. Okay, so there, the answer is rational choice theory. So I hope we're clear with that. Guys, if you have questions, feel free to comment below. Now, we're gonna move on to number 2 item. In psychoanalytic theory, the unconscious wish for death is called lupus, animus, thanatos, or eros. Okay, I'm gonna give you, Jonathan, thank you, Mr. Fontanilla, good morning. Robert, Jennifer Bobis, good morning as well. Okay, now guys, I'm gonna give you a few moments so you can... There, excellent answer, DG Corpus. The answer is thanatos. Okay, thanatos, that's correct. Okay, and why not lupus? Why not animus? And why not eros? Okay, this is actually a Freudian perspective. Now, psychoanalytic theory, Freudian perspective. Yes, we say Freud. We do not say Freud. Okay, we say Sigmund Freud, because Sigmund Freud is actually an Austrian, so that's how they say it. We do not say Simon Freud, we do not say Sigmund Freud. It's just simply Sigmund Freud. Okay? So this is a Freudian perspective. Actually, I have a misgiving with the stem. It's not psychoanalytic theory. I think this has something to do with Freud's drive theory. Drive theory of Freud is actually an offshoot of psychoanalytic theory, or a branch of psychoanalytic theory. Okay? And what does it maintain? The drive theory of Freud. Okay? The drive theory of Freud, it is viewed like we have instincts, and our instincts are classified into 2 major classes: the life instincts and the death instincts. Okay? Okay, pero I'll get back to that. Pero let's discuss muna. Why not lupus? Okay, the answer is letter C. You guys are correct. Spot on. Very good. The answer is thanatos. Okay, Well, actually, thanatos, I think, is a loan word because it is of Greek origin. Thanatos is of Greek origin. Okay, why Greek origin? It is actually, in Greek mythology, Thanatos is like a deity of death. And his brother is Eros, who is also a deity or a god of love. Okay, so the terms are derived from Greek. It is actually of Greek origin, Thanatos and Eros. Now, I'll discuss first lupus and animus. Lupus there is an outright distractor, so we eliminate that right away. Okay, why? Because lupus is, if I'm not mistaken, it's like an immunodeficiency disease. Yeah, so we discard that from the options, from our alternative, from our choices. The next is animus. What is animus? Animus is actually the antithesis of anima. Okay, this is actually can be found under Jungian perspective. What is Jungian? It's J-U-N-G, but we do not say Jung. We do not say Carl Jung. We say Carl Jung. It's Jungian. Okay? Because Carl Jung is actually, I think, Jung is a Swiss psychologist. So that's how they say it. They do not say Carl Jung. We just say Carl Jung. So under Jungian perspective, the analytic theory is actually Jung's response to Freud's psychoanalytic theory. Well, this is just some sort of like a trivia or a good to know information. You know what? Jung and Freud, they used to be friends, but I think in the heyday of their careers, they became rivals. In the heyday of their careers, I think there were some disagreements about the theory. At first, Freud believed that it is actually Jung that will become an heir to his theories. Pero for some reasons that we do not know, they had some disagreements. Kaya nagsarili din si Jung ng sarili niya analytic theory. Okay, yung animus sa analytic yan ni Jung, pero yung thanatos and eros, that is Freud yan. Okay, pero what is animus? What is its origin? I think it's really important to discuss this kasi what if pagdating ng board exam, ito pala yung matatanong sa inyo. The animus and the anima. Well, just a brief background. The psychoanalytic theory of Freud is actually consists of the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is actually the conscious self. My bad. I stand corrected. The id is actually the instinctual desires of men. This is our unconscious self. And then the superego is our conscience. And what is our ego? Our ego is our conscious self. It mediates between our conscience and our desires. So that is Freudian. Okay. Under Jungian, or the analytic theory of Carl Jung, we have, actually, Jung calls the total personality a psyche. He calls it the psyche. The total personality of man is called psyche. Okay, now, the center of psyche is called the ego, the conscious self. Pretty much similar with Freudian. Now, for Jung, it's the ego. The psyche consists of the ego, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious. Okay, so the ego, that is the center of our self. Now, what is personal unconscious? Personal unconscious is actually personal unconscious, we have like the complexes. Okay, so it's embedded within our personal unconscious. But what is personal unconscious? These are actually set of experiences that are actually hidden. They were suppressed, repressed, or even forgotten. Or it could also be experiences that are too weak to make an impression to our conscious self. So that is our personal unconscious. Pero at any moment, pwedeng may mag-trigger sa kanya na mapunta uli siya sa conscious self. Because I think it's very noteworthy na pag sinabi nating personal unconscious, these experiences used to be conscious. Okay, they used to be conscious. Okay, now what about collective unconscious? This is the third component of psyche according to Jung. when we say collective unconscious, these are actually universal or shared by the human persona, the human beings all across the entire human race. Okay, kaya kung mapapansin nyo, di ba, according to yung all across the globe, para-pareho daw ang representation natin, ang symbolism natin ng arts, ng culture, ng religion, and whatnot. Okay, and para-pareho din naman din ang tao na universal na, why do we fear darkness? Why do we fear snake? Okay, so it's collective. Sinasabi it's collective unconscious. Now, collective unconscious is actually consists of archetypes. Now, what are these archetypes? Ang archetypes naman may 4. Kasama na yung animus. The animus, the anima, the shadow, and the persona. Okay? Now, last ko na yung animus kasi it's important. Okay, what is persona? In Jungian perspective, for Carl Jung, our persona is like our public self. Okay, we assume different roles. It's like for Jung, this is the mask that we wear when we are in public. We assume many different roles, varied roles, and iba-iba din ang responsibilidad sa bawat role na ina-assume natin. So, bakit? Why do we need to wear a mask in public? That is our persona. Okay? Bakit? Why is that so? Why do we wear mask? It is because of the social conventions. Hi, good morning, Manay Monet, Michael, Johnny. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for watching. Okay, now going back, why do we wear masks? It's again of social conventions. Because we are actually within the confines of these conventions. So, kailangan natin paglabas kung saang social gathering, our behavior is actually dependent on the social event, the social gathering, and even on the processes, and even on the person that we are with. So, that's the mask that we wear. Because we are bound to these social conventions. We need to abide by the rules of the societies. That's why we need to wear a mask. That's persona. Okay, now what are the shadow? Under Jungian perspective. Shadow is like part of ourselves that we deny, part of ourselves that we do not like. We acknowledge, we recognize, but we know that it's not right. So we try to suppress it. So it's shadow. Pero nandun pa rin. Now, we are down with animus and anima. Okay. Animus or anima. Let's begin with anima. What is anima? According to Carl Jung, in his perspective of personality, anima is actually the feminine side of all men. And it's universal. Okay? Lahat daw ng lalaki is may feminine component that is called anima. Now, on the flip side, we have animus. What is animus? Animus is the antithesis of anima. Sabi naman niyong it's universal. Lahat ng babae, all women, they have a masculine side that is called animus. Okay? I hope we're clear with that. Okay, I'm sorry if I hope I'm not flying off on a tangent. I hope I am not sound like I'm digressive. I just feel like it's imperative to discuss this personality theories. It's very important under this umbrella of sociology of crime and ethics. So I just feel like I need to discuss this. Okay? Now, why is thanatos the answer? Okay, this is the unconscious wish for death. Okay, now going back, earlier on, I made mention of thanatos and eros. They are of Greek origin. Okay, sabi ni Freud, dun sa drive theory niya, which is an offshoot or a branch of psychoanalytic theory, according to Freud, lahat daw tayo may drive. Yung drive na yung tinatawag na instinct. And that instinct has two major classes. Our life instinct is called eros, and our death instinct is called thanatos. Because thanatos in Greek mythology is the deity or the god of death. And this brother, his counterpart, is eros, Greek deity or god of love. What is life instinct? Sabi ni Freud, yung life instinct na tinatawag na eros, this has a lot to do with our procreation, love, life, sexuality. Pero pagdating naman sa thanatos, ano naman daw yung instinct na yon? This is our, it's like aggressiveness, pain, violence, and our unconscious wish for death. Okay, pero that unconscious wish is being tempered by eros, our life instinct. Okay, so our answer to that, to item number 2, okay, is thanatos. This is man's unconscious wish for death. Okay, I hope we're clear. If you have questions, feel free to leave a message on our comment box down below. Okay, and I'm more than glad to answer each questions you have. Okay, now guys, if you want an in-depth discussion of these subject matter, feel free to let me know, and you can actually visit my YouTube video. Okay, so I can discuss this in an in-depth manner. Okay, I hope we're on the same page, and thank you for that. Thank you for the kind words. She said it's very informative. I really appreciate that. This is for you. Okay, this is for the sake of your review. I really appreciate. Now let's move on to the number 3 question. Item number 3 is. Okay, in the field of terrorism, the most common tactic used is blank. We have the choices: assassination, bombing, kidnapping, and extortion. Okay, few seconds for you to comment your answers. Few questions. We have assassination, bombing, kidnapping, and extortion. The answer is bombing. Okay, why so? It's because, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, we have assassination, kidnapping, and extortion. All of those are actually acts of terrorism. But I think the most perpetrated act in as far as terrorism or terrorist groups are concerned, it is bombing. It's the most common, the most perpetrated act. Among, of course, alongside assassination as part, kidnapping is part, extortion is part of that. Okay, now, another good to know information about terrorism. How do we make a separation between terrorism and organized crime group? Where do you think organized crime group and terrorism converge and diverge? At some point, they converge, and at some point, they do diverge. So, what is their point of convergence and what is their point of divergence? This is another good to know information. Terrorism. Pag sinabi kasing organized crime group, it's like they are actually profit-oriented or money-driven. It's like, pero pag sinabing terrorism, they are more ideologically driven, more on like that. And then, pag sinabing organized crime group, kung pwede, ayaw nila ng publicity. Pero pag sa terrorism, they would always love to attract attention from the public. So, isa yan sa mga salient differences between terrorism and organized crime group. Okay. Yeah, assassination is, yun palagi, linked, closely associated to organized crime. Very good, Momay. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Lenny, Sigsela, Pantoja. I really appreciate for giving some time just to watch the video for the review. Okay, so the answer, so we're clear on that. The answer for item number 3 is bombing. Now, let's proceed with item number 4. Item number 4, the stem goes like, Mr. Agapito shows non-interest, lack of confidence and skills to relate meaningfully, harmoniously, and fruitfully with the members of community. Thus, he is suffering from social crisis, moral crisis, motivational crisis, or emotional crisis. Okay, few moments, few seconds. Comment your answer. Okay, thank you, Barbosa Carlo, Kenneth C, Claudette Carina. Thank you so much. Good job. Yeah. Arsad Sarip, good job. Manay Manet, good job. The answer is letter A. John Nicole, good job. Yeah, it's what made you think that the social crisis is the answer to that? I think it's really easy to decipher, right? Kasi the operative statement it's actually very emphatic. It's very clear na we are looking for social skills here. Okay? All of these, I think, social crisis, moral crisis, motivational crisis, emotional crisis, I think these are all telltale signs of antisocial behavior, anomic tendencies, right? Pero dito sa STEM kasi very clear, very emphatic na ang hinihingi is yung skills sa pagko-communicate, sa pag-i-interact. How do we establish a harmonious relationship with each other? Of course, so syempre kailangan ng social skills. Okay, so when you lack those social skills necessary for you to create a bond and build rapport to each other, it's obvious, we can safely deduce that an individual is suffering from social crisis. Okay, yes, you are guys correct. It's not moral crisis. Why? Why not moral crisis? I'm sorry. I have to clear my throat. Give me a few seconds. I think I need water. Just one moment. Yes, Sir Brian. Spot on. Excellent answer, Sir Brian Fabro. My classmate. Good morning, sir. Okay. A very intelligent classmate of mine. Yes, sir. Sir, you're correct, social crisis. Now, why not moral crisis? Kasi when we say moral crisis, diba, it's like, for me, it's like an ethical, an individual is experiencing an ethical deficit. It's like, yeah, ethical deficit. Why? It's like, can we say that the generation today is now on the threshold of moral twilight? So, that's a moral crisis. Kasi, why moral crisis? Moral crisis, what is being looked at in moral crisis is that, like, what used to be unacceptable before is now becoming acceptable. Okay? What is judged to be inappropriate before is now being deemed as appropriate and okay. So, I think we can deduce that moral crisis happens when an individual or a group of people experience a deficit in their values. It's like values erosion. When our values starts to erode, I think we can say that that is an example of moral crisis. We are on that note experiencing moral crisis because we are experiencing deficit in our ethics and our values gradually eroding. Okay, so that's moral crisis. Pero it's clear na that's not the answer we're looking for. Okay, now how about motivational crisis? Meaning, an individual feels like he's been disconnected. It's like he has lost his purpose in life and wala na siyang nakuhang inspirasyon or motivation or aspiration sa buhay. It's like he feel like he's all endowed and despondent and he just feels hopeless. So he lacks motivation. So that is motivational crisis. But we do not want that. Okay? We would always want to look on the positive side of life and be excited and be happy with what life has to offer the next day. Okay, so that's motivation. About emotional crisis. So, emotional crisis has a lot to do with our emotions, with our feelings. Okay? So, anyway, that is just a distractor. So, it's clear that in item number 4, the answer is social crisis. Okay? Mr. Gapito is experiencing lack of social skills. That's why he is actually finding it difficult to relate himself to others. Okay? Again, all of these are actually telltale signs of antisocial behavior. Okay. Thank you. I hope that's clear. So we'll proceed to the next item. Item number 5. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Item number 5. What conflict does this individual possess if he is motivated to engage in two undesirable activities but cannot pursue simultaneously. Our alternatives, we have approach, avoidance, conflict. Approach, conflict. Avoidance, conflict. Multiple approach, avoidance, conflict. Few seconds so you can comment your answers. Excuse me. Hi, Danny, Spina, Patch, Amazon. Okay, few moments. Yes, Arsad Sarip, correct, very good. The answer is C, it's avoidance, conflict. Okay, now, why do you think it is avoidance? What made you say it is avoidance, conflict? It is avoidance, conflict. Why? Why not approach avoidance, conflict? Why not approach conflict? And why not multiple approach avoidance, conflict? Okay, I'm just gonna tackle so you can get to see the stem and the options again. Okay. Okay, now guys, these are actually type of conflicts. Okay, as I've mentioned earlier back, we all make decisions every day, every minute, every second. What clothes to wear, what food to eat, where to go. We make decisions. Okay, so in every decisions, we encounter conflicts. Okay, now these are the examples of conflicts. And as far as decision making is concerned, okay, now why do we say that when an individual is caught up between or torn between two undesirable activities, why do you think that? What made you think that it is a textbook example of avoidance conflict? Okay, now let's start with approach avoidance. With approach avoidance, I think what is being looked at is it's like you are. And let me give an example of approach avoidance. Approach meaning one is desirable and the other one is undesirable. So you have to make a decision. So with that, you are experiencing a conflict on that note. So it's either are you going to pursue or are you going to avoid? So that's why it's called approach avoidance, meaning am I to pursue or am I to avoid? Example, a new job. It's a high paying job and a nice career, prestigious career, yet it requires long hours of work. So I think that is a classic textbook example of approach avoidance, right? Because I want to pursue, because I am motivated by it's high paying, it's prestigious. So I would love to approach and I would love to pursue. But what would make me want to avoid is that it would require the rigors of the work and the long hours of work. So, yun. How do you settle such conflict? Of course, with analysis, pretty much like kanina dun sa prior exam natin. Cost benefit, positive, negative, we settle with that kind of approach, of that mechanism. Okay, so but letter A is not the kind of answer that we're looking for, because the STEM clearly emphasizes, or it's emphatically stated, that two undesirable activities, meaning two activities that you want to avoid, meaning you just judge that these activities are not good or will not do you any good, so you just want to avoid it. Okay, so number two, approach meaning it's actually a decision in which parehong maganda, parehong desirable yung effect. Pag avoidance, this is the correct answer. Yes, you're correct. That's the correct answer. Avoidance, conflict. Okay, kasi pareho. Example, for students, pareho mo ayaw gumawa ng houseworks, ng house chores, and pareho mo din ayaw gumawa ng projects. So that's an avoidance conflict. These are types of conflict that we encounter every day as we make decisions. Okay, I hope we're clear with that. So we'll proceed with the next item. Okay, item number 6. I'll toggle the camera. Okay, thank you, Danny. Thank you, Errol. Okay, Item number 6. I'm gonna read the stem. The stem goes like, hi, good morning from Frank William. Good morning, Richard Irwin. So I'm gonna read the stem, and it goes like, Maria has a friend named Feli. During the night, Maria is somewhat to be obsessed or possessed by an evil doll and acts like it. On an early afternoon basis, she becomes somewhat an angry old woman. On an early morning, she will act a somewhat 6-year-old. It was reported by Alexander that she has actually 9 personalities per day. On the situation, this described as the choices, we have dissociative. That's a wrong spelling. It's actually a fugue. It's F-U-G-U-E. It's fugue. Dissociative fugue. Okay? That's our choices. Letter A, dissociative fugue. Letter B, dissociative identity disorder. Letter C, multiple personality disorder. And letter D, I don't think this is dispersonalization. I think this is depersonalization disorder. Okay? You might want to correct that. Yes, good morning, Danny. This is not, letter D is not dispersonalization. That is depersonalization. Okay. So A, dissociative, and then it's fugue. It's not F-A, it's F-U-G-U-E. Dissociative fugue, dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality disorder, and this depersonalization disorder, not dispersonalization. Okay? Comment your answer first. I'm gonna give you a few moments. I'll give you a few moments, guys. Okay, yes, that's correct. Hi, Brian Peñaflor, Banjo. Oh, yeah, that's correct. The answer is letter C. Why C? Why not dissociative fugue? Why not dissociative identity disorder? Okay, pero I think I have a misgiving again with the alternatives, because from what I know, I think dissociative identity disorder is used to be known as multiple personality disorder. I think they are pretty much the same. Yeah, you're correct. Letter C is correct. We're good with that. It's multiple personality disorder. Okay, what is dissociative fugue? Yung dissociative fugue is, it's like, okay, I'll toggle the camera. Dissociative fugue, it's like an individual forgets his identity. Okay? And even other autobiographical information, nakakalimutan yun. Kaya it's called dissociative fugue. Pero sa pagdating sa dissociative personality disorder, I think they're just the same with multiple personality disorder. They're pretty much the same. And more than likely, yung nagmamanifest ng ganitong symptoms, they are victims of abuse, of severe abuse. Kaya nagmamanifest, nagde-develop ang dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder, that symptoms actually stem from trauma, okay, or negative experiences. And I think there's one good film that I remember about this kind of theme. Did you get to see Primal Fear by Richard Gere? That is the theme of the movie. It's like the person is having multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, na kung saan yung very weak siya, na-abuse siya, and then from there, yung personality niya nag-create ng panibagong persona na very strong para protektahan yung weak side niya. Minsan ganun. Kaya sabi ko kanina, individuals manifesting or exhibiting these kind of symptoms are actually victims of severe abuse. Okay, now depersonalization. What is depersonalization? Again, guys, that is not dispersonalization. That is depersonalization. What is depersonalization? It's like I think it's like a detachment. Okay, nagde-detach. I think the example that I can think of is, it's like similar to astral projection. It's like the feeling, it's like the experience is like seeing your body, and you are like from the outside, seeing your own self from the outside. It's like, that's why it's called depersonalization, because you are being detached. So that is depersonalization disorder. Okay? Thank you. I hope we're clear with that. So let's proceed with the next item. Okay. Okay. Number 7. Sorry, I failed to notice that we're already almost an hour. Pero number 7 pa lang pala tayo. Okay, so number 7. Okay. Okay. Number 7. This is a characteristics of a qualitative research wherein researcher build their patterns, involves researchers working back and forth between the themes and the database until they establish a comprehensive set of themes. So what do you think is the answer? The choices: emergent design, multiple sources of data, nature setting, inductive data analysis. Okay, I'm gonna give you a few moments so you can comment your answer. Okay, the answer is... Okay, yes, that's correct. Okay, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Danny. Okay, that is inductive data analysis. Why? Inductive because it's like from scratch. Okay, and then from there, you start, it's like from square one, everything is from scratch. The basis is like observation, and then from there, dun ka pala mag-start na mag-establish ng foundation para sa research mo. Okay, when we say emergent design naman, it's like, that's why it's called emergent, kasi the design is like, with the emergent, kasi it's like, the design is dependent on the emerging findings. It's like, the design adapts, the design adjusts to the results, to the ideas, to the concepts, to the findings arising from your research. So kaya sinasabing emergent design. Pero it's very clear from the STEM that that is not the kind of answer we're looking for. So we are looking for inductive, kasi from wala, you will build from scratch. Okay? So deductive. From deductive naman, it's like meron na and then you will be reducing it. Okay? So the answer is inductive data analysis. Okay, so that's number 7. I think let's not delve too much anymore on each item, because I think we're running almost an hour now. And I'm just on item number 7. Okay. Okay. Item number 8. Item number 8. Okay, I'm gonna give you time to read and explain. I'm just gonna drink water. What do you think is the answer? Give me a few moments. I just need a few minutes of break, or a few seconds, few moments. Feel free to type in your comments. Okay, yes, there, the answer is vincible ignorance. Okay, now these are actually type of ignorance. Okay, we have positive, we have vincible, and invincible ignorance. When we say vincible ignorance, okay, it is a classification of ignorance that can be easily reminded through ordinary diligence and reasonable efforts, meaning invincible, meaning it can be overcome, easily overcome. When you say invincible, it not that easy. It cannot be overcome. Okay, that's why we say the stem is actually looking for answer letter A, which is invincible ignorance. Okay, item number 9. Gretchen is showing a distinct behavior in which it is forbidden by our laws because of the impulse of moment. What classification would fit to the statement? Okay, a few moments, you can comment your answers. Showing distinct, that is actually, I think, the operative statement there, showing distinct behavior in which it is forbidden by our laws. Yes, thank you. And then Minik Wafu, thank you for watching. Okay. Okay. Arsad Sarip, thank you for your answer. You said it's letter B. Okay, thank you. Okay, the answer is there. It's letter C. It's acute criminal. What makes it acute? Okay, now what is crime of passion? What is neurotic crime? And chronic. What does it mean when you say chronic criminal? Okay, when we say neurotic, when do we say that a person is like exhibiting neurotic behavior? Okay, this is more than likely affected by the neurosis. That's why we'd say it's a neurotic crime. Okay, and why do we say it's acute? Okay. Okay. Sige, Tagalog. Sige. Wait. Okay, sige. Peter, thank you, Peter. Thank you for watching. Okay, we say acute criminal because ano ba yung quantifier? Ano bang qualifier para masabing this type of criminal is acute? There, sabi ko kanina, the operative statements there is like violation of forbidden laws. A criminal is deemed to be acute if he violates written laws. Okay, with the written laws, we have a lot. We have the RPC, we have the executive order with ordinances, we have Batas Pambansa, we have the Philippine Constitution, and whatnot. So, okay, so pag sinabing acute criminal, meaning the impulse is actually because of violation of the forbidden laws. We are referring to written laws. Okay, item number 10. The following are the propositions of classical school of thought. Except, okay. Number 1, punishment of sufficient severity can deter people from crime as the cost or the penalty, and outweigh benefits, and that the severity of punishment should be proportionate to the crime. Okay, meaning kung ano yung offense na ginawa, dapat proportion din naman ang punishment sa kanya. Yun lang din naman sinasabi ng number 1. Okay, number 2, the more swift and certain the punishment, the less effective it is in deterring criminal behavior. The more swift and certain the punishment, the less effective it is in deterring criminal behavior. What does that mean? The more daw na yung punishment is stringent or stricter, mas hindi raw yun effective in as far as crime deterrence or crime prevention or suppression is concerned. Number 3, that people have free will to choose how to act. This is the free will principle na sabi, we make choices. So kung anong ginawa mo, it's because of your free will. You are just exercising your free will. Number 4 is deterrence. What do we mean when we say to deter, meaning to stop? Okay, deterrence is based upon the notion of the human being as a hedonist. What is a hedonist? Okay, hedonist who seeks pleasure and avoid pain and the rational calculator weighing up the cost and benefits of the consequences of each action. Okay. Bakit sinasabing hedonist? Actually, I think hedonist, give me a few moments, the phone is ringing. Few seconds, wait lang. Okay. Hedonist. Okay, ano ibig sabihin ng hedonist? I think hedonism is the antithesis of masochism. Kasi pag masochism, gusto mo ng pain. You find pleasure in pain. Pero pag sinabing hedonist, I think tayo is hedonist naman tayo. Of course, gusto naman natin ma-experience yung pleasure rather than bakit pinipili kong umupo sa malambot na chair kaysa sa upuan na may mga nails. So that is in essence, I am exhibiting hedonism for that matter. So okay. So what do you think is the answer? 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, or 4 only? Propositions of classical school of thought, except. Ano ba yung sinasabi sa classical school of thought? Ano ba sinasabi sa classical school of thought? So, I think dun nyo kailangan mag-start para mapili nyo yung tamang sagot. Ano ba yung sinasabi sa classical school of thought? Okay? Okay, yes, that's correct. Good job. There, the answer is letter B. Okay? Kasi ano ba sinasabi sa letter B? The more swift and certain the punishment, the less effective it is in deterring criminal behavior. So that is not in congruence or in accordance with the principle of the classical school of thought. Kasi ano sinasabi sa classical school of thought? Ang actions daw ng tao is free will natin, exercise of free will. So dapat tama lang na proportionate kung gaano ka-grave yung ginawa mong offense, ganun din dapat ka-proportion yung ginagawa mong, yung punishment para sa'yo. Bakit? Except yung number 2. Kasi ang sabi sa number 2, hindi daw effective pang masyadong strict ang punishment. Kasi more on ano na yan neoclassical and positivism. Positivist na yan. Kasi pagdating dito sa post-classical school of thought, more on rehabilitative, more on reformative ang approach sa crime deterrence. Pero dyan kasi sa classical school of thought, the approach is more on punitive. It's highly punitive, meaning punishment talaga. Kung anong ginawa mo, yun din dapat ang kabayaran. I think that is heavily drawn from ancient style of scheme or landscape of punishment. It's like Code of Hammurabi, it's like ganun. Doon pa yan naka-premise yung classical school of thought. Pero pagdating sa post-classical school of thought, the neoclassical, the positivist school of thought, hindi na ganon. It's on, again, rehabilitative and reformative ang approach to crime deterrence. If you want to deter crime, if you want to suppress crime, dapat i-rehabilitate. Kasi they are viewed as like an illness. So, hindi sila dapat ganun ang treatment na kailangan parusahan, which is proportion to the offense committed. Okay? I hope we're clear with that. So, if you have questions again, please feel free to... okay? Melvin Garcia, yeah, with the severity. Severity is actually the operative term there. Depende kung gaano ka-grave, depende kung gaano ka-severe, ganun din proportion ang punishment para sa offender. Okay. Now, let's move on with item number 11. Okay. Which of the following does not belong to the group? Okay. I'll give you a few moments to read, to browse over, and to comment your answers. Okay, yeah, good job. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Peter, for your answers. Okay. Okay, there. The answer is maiming. Why maiming? I think maiming is, yeah. I think among all the four alternatives, I think maiming is the odd one out. Meaning siya yung naiiba. Why? Kasi starvation, dehydration, these are actually forms of punishments. Okay? Form of punishments. Starvation, ginugutom, dehydration, hindi binibigyan ng any fluids or water. Mainom. Immurement is like yung confined na facility na halos wala ka ng moving or breathing space hanggang iiwanan na lang doon hanggang mamatay. So that's immurement. So, bakit add one out ang maiming? Kasi maiming is actually undertaken through inflicting of pain, to inflict pain, as in physical ang pang-i-injure sa kanya. Yung lahat namang starvation, the other three options, starvation, dehydration, immurement is walang kasamang physical injurement. Okay, they do not physically injure you as a punishment. Pero with maiming, it's like, it might include mutilating and inflicting wounds and pain to the body of the offender. So, maiming is the odd one out. So, that's why that's the answer to our question. Which of the following does not belong to the group? Hi, thank you, GZD. Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, John Bert Suarez. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Okay. Number 12. Eviction or demolition of squatters calls for the policemen to, letter A, exercise maximum force in dealing with squatters, exercise limited force, exercise maximum tolerance while giving security assistance, and letter D, participate in actual demolition. So what do you think is the answer? Okay, these G. Corpus, thank you for your answer. Prince Aljoy, thank you. Barbosa Carlo, thank you for giving your answer. Jolly Rose, thank you. Diagandan Reb, thank you. Okay, let's see. We'll see if you answered this item correctly. Okay, the correct answer is letter C. You guys are correct. Spot on. Okay, impressive. I think lahat nyo nakuha yung tamang sagot. So the answer is exercise maximum tolerance while giving security assistance. That's correct. Very good. Why? Actually sa lahat, halos lahat naman sa pagganyan ng mga offense, laging ganun the premise or the principle is like they need to exercise maximum tolerance. At the end of the day, our law enforcers, they are actually tasked to preserve peace and order and to suppress crime. Okay, so kaya palagi silang, ang pinanggagalingan nila palagi is maximum tolerance. Okay, thank you. Good job, everyone. Okay, next item. Okay, I'm gonna read and please comment your answers. What will happen to the sentence rendered by the court to a boy of 10 who raped a girl of his age? Okay, letter A, mitigated, letter B, suspended, letter C, commuted, and letter D, serve. Yeah, DG Corpus, thank you for your answer. Is that mitigated, suspended, or commuted? Yes, B, Renzo, correct. Good job. Thank you, John Witt. Okay, what do you think is the answer? The answer is B, suspended. Why? Because the boy is, the key term there, or the operative there is boy is 10, so it's only suspended. Okay, we're not gonna delve much on this item because I think you have a separate subject for this, in which this will be discussed with breath. Okay, so the answer there is suspended. It's not commuted, not mitigated. Kasi pag mitigated, mag-serve pa rin naman. Pero it's like na re-reduce. So it's just suspended until the boy reaches legal age. Okay. Next. Okay, item number 14. The following shall undergo mandatory drug testing according to RA 9165 except. Okay? Kindly read. I'm not gonna read. Sakit na lamunan. Okay guys. I'm gonna give you a few seconds or few moments to read and answer. Okay. Now, what is, yes, Duralex, Sedlex. Yes, what is RA 9165, by the way? You might want to start by defining RA 9165. What does it mean? Or what is that all about? When we say RA 9165, it is actually the act instituting the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Okay? Okay? Now, let's check the answer. Okay, yeah, that's correct. The answer is letter D. Okay. Bancho, thank you. Janet. Okay, the answer is officers and members of the military, police, and other law enforcement agencies. Okay, except them. All of that, they are clearly stipulated in RA 9165. Okay? Okay, number 15. The problem must be blank and blank. It must be of interest to the one investigating it. It should yield answers that will contribute to knowledge and development. Okay. Our choices or alternatives: clear and visible, B, timely and relevant, proper and precise, appropriate and exact. Letter B for J. Galliano. Okay. Thank you. Abenicio, letter A, clear and visible. DJ Corpus, timely and relevant. Fernandez CB. Okay, John Witt, thank you for your answers. Okay, now this is a lot. Has to do with research, criminological research, right? Okay, the answer is okay. That is timely and relevant. Okay. But I think I have a misgiving to this one because it okay, let's just read it one more time. The problem must be blank and blank. If we are to supply timely and relevant, the problem must be timely and relevant. It must be of interest to the one investigating it. It should yield answers that will contribute to knowledge and development. I don't think that's timely and relevant. I think the correct answer is not part of the alternative or set of alternatives. I think dapat dyan is, kasi if I'm not mistaken, lahat ng choices, lahat yan ay guidelines. I think all of that, those are all guidelines in choosing a research topic. Yeah, lahat yan. It should be timely and relevant, proper and precise, appropriate and exact. Pero ang hinihingi kasi doon, I think, ang tamang sagot dyan, the problem must be of interest to the researcher. Pero it's not timely kasi dapat ang STEM, kung timely and relevant ang sagot, dapat yung STEM should look like yung significance niya sa current situation, sa trends, sa existing trend, dapat ganun pag timely and relevant. And the result, the produce of the research will be very beneficial and significant to the existing trend. Dapat ganun pag timely and relevant. So, I don't think we have an answer to this item. I don't think we have an answer to this item. Kasi ang dapat dyan is interest ng research ang sagot. Okay? It's not, I appreciate Jovi, but it's not clear and visible. Kasi clear, emphatically stated system na dapat falling within the interest of the investigator or of the researcher. So, wala dito yung sagot. Okay. Next item. Okay. Number 16. It is characterized by a gradual deterioration of drive, ambition, and the ability to function, reflected in the absence of social relationship or to work effectively at a job. Okay, few moments. I'm gonna give you your answer. Okay, the choices we have epiphrenic schizophrenia, catatonic schizophrenia, simple schizophrenia, and paranoid schizophrenia. Okay, few seconds so you can comment your answers. Okay, thank you, DG Corpus. C, okay. Paranoid, okay, I'll toggle it back to the screen. Okay, yes, go ahead and feel free to comment your answers. Okay, yes, you are correct. Thank you. Okay, the answer is letter C. It's simple. It's schizophrenia. Okay, why not hebephrenic and why not catatonic? Because when we say hebephrenic, it's schizophrenia. These are actually shallow and inappropriate emotional responses, or sometimes accompanied by I think accompanied by bizarre behavior. So that's hebephrenic. Pero pag sinabi nating catatonic schizophrenia, it's like in a state of catatonia. When we say state of catatonia, it's like yung ano lang siya, parang blank lang lahat, hindi nagre-response, hindi siya nagsasalita, hindi siya kumikibo, pero conscious siya, pero ganun lang yung state niya. Nasa catatonic schizophrenia, nasa state of catatonia siya. So this one is simple schizophrenia. And then it's not paranoid schizophrenia, because paranoid schizophrenia is actually accompanied by illusions, delusions, hallucinations, and whatnot. So it's not. So the answer is correct. This is simple schizophrenia. Okay. Thank you, Jonico. Okay. Number 17. I'm not gonna read kasi sakit na yung lalamunan ko. Pero I'll toggle it back to the screen. I just need to rest my voice. Okay. You read and comment your answers.
Republic Act 9344 made it clear that status offense is no longer treated as criminal and shall not be penalized. We call this process as A. Suspension of sentence, B. Criminalization, C. Decriminalization, and letter D. Diversion.
Okay. Now, you might want to begin with defining RA 9344, right? RA 9344 is actually an act establishing a comprehensive juvenile justice and welfare system. Okay? So that's 9344. So what is your answer? Okay, so the answer, yeah, you're correct. Thank you, Joe. Yes, correct. Dennis Spirito. The answer is letter C, decriminalization. Meaning, what used to be, what is deemed to be criminal offense before, now deemed not criminal in essence. So no, they are no longer treated as criminal and shall not be penalized. Okay, so that's decriminalization. It's not considered as a form of crime anymore. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna give you 5-minute pee break or water break or coffee break. Okay, because I also need one. I also need a few minutes for pee break. Okay, and just be sure to get everything that you might be needing. So when we resume, we'll continue and we'll ease through the entire topic. Okay, we'll pause for a break for now, and we'll be back after a few minutes. 10, the maximum of 10. We'll be back. We'll resume after 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, now we're back. We'll continue with the lecture. Now with item number 18. Okay, item number 18. This theory states that obedience to the norms of lower class culture places people in conflict with norms of the dominant culture. Our alternatives, we have strain theory, we have differential association theory, we also have the theory of enemy, and the culture conflict theory. Okay, comment your answers. What do you think is the answer? The answer is, yes, that's correct. Thank you, Dennis Espiritu. Okay, the answer is culture conflict theory. Okay, now why not strain theory? Why not differential association theory? And why not theory of enemy or enemy theory? Okay, now if I'm not mistaken, strain theory is actually propounded by Robert Merton. The main proponent of differential association theory is Sutherland, and the enemy is by theory of enemy was actually propounded by Emil Durkheim. Okay, now I'm gonna read the stem one more time. This theory states that obedience to the norms of lower class culture places people in conflict with the norms of the dominant culture. Okay, the answer is culture conflict theory. Why? Kasi this theory maintains that nagkakaroon daw ng it's like clash of values or conflict between practices. Kaya nagkakaroon ng culture. Ano ba yung susundin nilang practice? Okay, now why not strain? What is being maintained in strain theory is that society puts pressure onto individuals because they need actually to abide by the rules and the conventions of the society. Mayroon tayong tinatawag na socially accepted goals, dapat mag-abide sila doon. Strain theory maintains that because of that, it actually puts pressure and strain and tension to an individual. Okay? And the more that it pushes them to become anomic, the more it pushes them to exhibit antisocial behavior. Okay, now what about differential association theory? This is not the answer we're looking for because as propounded by Sutherland, ano sinasabi ni Sutherland? It has been maintained by Sutherland under differential association theory that our attitudes, our practices, our behavior is actually learned through interaction. So yun lang naman yung sinasabi niya dun sa differential association theory ni Sutherland. Lahat daw ng anong natutunan nating practice, habits, lahat, the way we react is actually a result of our interaction with other people. Okay, the theory of enemy, or pag sinabing anomic, meaning this is propounded by Durkheim. Pag sinabing anomic, meaning it is the state of normlessness or lack of rules. Kaya nagkakaroon ng chaos or this organization within the society. Okay? So that's it. That's actually item number 18. So the answer is culture conflict theory. The clash of values arises from different cultural practices. Okay? Iba-iba yung kahit minsan ang concept natin what is acceptable and what is otherwise and what is appropriate and what is not, kahit nun hindi magkakapareho. Kaya sinasabing there is a cultural conflict theory. Kasi sometimes culture of other type of society is iba din dun sa example sa lower class of society, iba din naman. So that is an example of culture conflict theory. Okay? Now, let's proceed with item number 19. Okay. Number 19. Okay. Okay, sorry, masakit na lalaman. Go.
Consists not only in misappropriation or converting public funds or property to one's personal use, but also by knowingly allowing others to make use or misappropriate them. Labatogos versus Adingabayan, G.R. 71581, 21st March 90. Even if his story about the theft of the funds were true, he would still be liable for malversation under Article 217 of the Revised Penal Code, for it was his gross negligence that made the larceny possible.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you have your alternatives: embezzlement, diversion, malversation, and larceny. Few seconds. Read the stem once again and you comment your answers. I'll give you a few seconds, a few moments, so you can answer. Okay, yeah, thank you, Mark James Nicholas. Answer is letter C, malversation. I'll tackle it back. Okay, so you can read it. Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Good job. Okay. Okay. The answer is letter C. That's correct, malversation. Okay. What do you think is the operative term for malversation, or the key component of malversation? How do we quantify an act to be a form of malversation? If the person is actually in a position of authority or public office, that is an example of malversation. Okay, so it's not embezzlement, not diversion, not larceny. Okay, so anyway, you will have a separate discussion for this, a separate subject for this. Okay, so I'm not gonna delve too much on this one. Okay, number 20. Yes, please. Okay. Okay, a theoretical, wrong spelling yung theoretical, sorry. A theoretical framework for understanding the structures and practices of police organizations based on the underlying premise that these organizations are created and structured to achieve specific goals such as crime control, and will ultimately fail if unable to adjust to environmental contingencies. Okay. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, AJ Montero. Okay. Sir Antonio Castilla, thank you for watching. Okay. The alternatives, we have broken window, we have containment theory, we have Johari window, and we have contingency theory. Okay, answers please. Okay. Yeah, a few more seconds. I'm gonna give you time to answer that. What do you think is the answer? Okay, I'll toggle it back. Okay. Okay. B, it's containment. DG Corpus, containment. Yeah, I appreciate. Thank you for your answers. B. Okay, and that's a nice guess. Containment theory. I don't think so. That's good job. I appreciate. I really appreciate. If it's not containment theory, what do you think is the best answer? No, it's not broken window. Why not broken window? Why not containment theory? You might want to try another answer. No, not containment, not broken. No, not B. Okay, I'm gonna show you the correct answer. The correct answer is... Okay, there. The correct answer. Correct. Very good, Francisco. Makinde, good job. The correct answer is contingency theory. Okay, why not broken window? Broken window theory, a broken window theory maintains that it's like the more it's like there is a high tendency or a high propensity that other members of the society will be replicating an offense. If, example, marami silang na may nakikita silang offense, in all likelihood, they will be replicating or they will be copying and gagawa din sila ng offense. It's like, that's what is being maintained under broken window theory. Pero what about containment theory? That's not the answer we're looking for with STEM number 20. Why not? Because containment theory, this is like a form of control, form of control of anomic behavior, of normlessness, of control of behavior. So that's what kaya sinasabing contain. This is a control theory. Johari window, I think this has something to do, I think that is an outright distractor because Johari window has a lot to do with personality check and tests. So contingency, that's contingency theory. Why do you think the answer is contingency? The operative statement is that police organizations are based on the underlying premise that these organizations are created and structured to achieve specific goals such as crime control and will ultimately fail if unable to adjust. That is the operative term, adjust. That is contingency theory. What does it mean when you say contingency theory? Meaning, wala namang perfect na plan. Lahat, they are all actually, they might fail. Pero ano sinasabi sa contingency? Dapat the scheme should be able to adjust and to adapt to the situation. Dependent on the situation, kaya sinasabing it's contingency. It should be contingent on the environment, on the circumstances, on the occurrence, and on the situation. Dapat able to adjust. That's what it meant. That's what the contingent theory holds. Sorry. Okay. So that's item number 20. Okay. So we'll proceed with item number 21. Number 21.
It is defined as written works, collectively, especially those of enduring importance, exhibiting creative imagination and artistic skill, which are written in particular period, language, and subject. A. Related readings. B. Related studies. C. Related literature. D. Related materials.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, hindi ko nabasa, masakit na yung lalamunan ko. Okay, so this STEM is actually under criminological research subject, right? So there, we have alternatives are actually readings, studies, literature, materials. The answer is, yeah. I would like to acknowledge Attorney J. M. Ferraro. Thank you, sir. Okay, the answer is, yes, it's related literature. Okay, this one is very simple. It's actually pretty obvious that that is the answer. Okay, it's related literature. There. Okay, number 22.
AFP, PNP units must be able to identify the threat, its nature, characteristics, operational capabilities, and probable targets, and know their own vulnerabilities so that steps can be taken to keep a potential threat from becoming a reality. A. Incident management. B. Target hardening. C. Threat analysis. Letter D. Crisis intervention.
There. Okay. You read it over and comment your answers. Okay. What do you think is the answer? Okay, I'll show the answer. The answer is threat analysis, because the operative statement is that be able to identify their own vulnerabilities and the capabilities of the probable targets. So that is threat analysis. This is under SWOT analysis. We all know what SWOT analysis, right? Okay, so threat analysis is part of SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is actually a practical mechanism being undertaken in the operations by our AFP and PNP. I think in almost every operations, they always undertake SWOT analysis, and threat is an important part of that one. Okay. Thank you, Brian Peñaflor. That's a correct answer. Okay, number 23.
If the prosecutor found out later after arraignment that the evidence is not enough to prove the guilt of the accused beyond reasonable doubt, he would pray for the dismissal or terminate furthering proceeding. This will fall under A, deciding to prosecute, B, prosecuting on reduced charges, C, dropping multiple counts, and letter D, terminating prosecution through nolle prosequi.
Nolle prosequi. Okay. Okay, guys. Read it over and comment your answers below. Okay. Yes, Albert, it's A, deciding to prosecute. What else? Any other answers? For Albert, thank you for watching, Albert. Ronin, thank you also. Okay. McGregor, thank you for watching also. Aside from letter A, any other answers? Aside from letter A? Okay, I'm gonna let you read that again. Okay, the answer is letter B. Nice, right? Good job, Edmar. Okay. Daniel Franco, thank you. Yes, there. The correct answer is terminating prosecution through nolle prosequi. What is nolle prosequi? Actually, this is of Latin origin, meaning it's like that is of Latin origin. It's like a formal letter of abandonment, meaning the plaintiff has already abandoned the complaint. Okay, so that's the correct answer. Terminating prosecution through nolle prosequi. Okay, it's a formal letter of abandonment by the plaintiff. So that is the correct answer. Okay, next.
It is described as a sequence of developmental stages that people pass through, and even acquiring the capacity to make moral judgments. A, personality theory. B, psychoanalytic theory. C, social learning theory. Letter D, moral development theory.
Okay, I think this one is pretty much simple. As Koshiro, Clay, thank you. Okay, yes, aside from that, letter D, what else? Okay. Yes. Yeah. McGregor, D. Okay, what else? Aside from letter D? Okay, letter A for Charmaine. Thank you, Charmaine. DJ Corpus, letter D. Haley, you said it's B. Brian Peñaflor, it's D also. Okay. C for El Sandro. Okay, there. The correct answer is It's moral development theory. Now, why not personality theory? Why not psychoanalytic theory? And why not social learning theory? Well, obviously, these are the answer. These alternatives are not the correct answer. Okay? Why? Social learning, this is actually part of social process. And what does it hold? When we say learning, it's like it maintains that attitudes, behaviors, our reactions, these are actually heavily influenced by imitation, by observation. Okay? We imitate almost everything na nakikita natin within our social orbit. Kung ano yung it's like social learning theory maintains that we become our social orbit. Kung anong na-observe natin, anong nakikita natin, in all likelihood, mataas yung chance na mai-imitate natin yung behavior ng nasa paligid natin. So that's learning theory. But that's not the answer we're looking for, because yung tinatanong naman is, it's very clear. A sequence of developmental stages, that's the operative term there, that people pass through and even acquiring the capacity to make moral judgment. So that is moral development theory. Psychoanalytic, again, this is Freudian perspective from Sigmund Freud. The main proponent of psychoanalytic is Sigmund Freud. Okay? So I've already discussed that earlier on. The id, the ego, the superego. For Freud, the id, that is our instinctual desires, that is our unconscious self. And our superego is it serves as our conscious. As our conscience. But our ego self is our conscious self. It mediates between gratifying the desire of our instincts, between suppressing the same. Okay? So that is psychoanalytic theory of Freud. So here the answer is moral development theory. Okay? Now let's move on to item number 25. Okay, number 25. The absence of preliminary investigation does not affect the jurisdiction of the court or invalidate the information if no objection was raised by the accused. And the dismissal of the case by authorities who conducted the preliminary investigation will, letter A, constitute double jeopardy. Letter B, not constitute as fault of the defendant. Letter C, not constitute double jeopardy. And letter D, constitute fault of the defendant. Okay, few seconds. You can comment your answers. Okay, thank you, Carlo. Thank you, Attorney Joy. Thank you, John LD. Abrenica. John LD, Abrenica, thank you. Okay. Answers, please. You might want to comment your answers. Okay, there. I'll toggle the camera so you can read. There. So there, the answer is letter B. It will not in any way constitute as fault of the defendant. Okay. I think this time is pretty clear with the question. And I'm not gonna discuss this in an in-depth manner anymore, because you will be having a separate discussion for this one, for law and jurisprudence. Okay, number 6. This is item number 26 is highly objective, so I don't think we still need further discussion for this one. Is considered as the most prominent jurist at the time of his appointment to the first Supreme Court organized under the American model. Hi, Jay Aquino. Thank you. So, this is objective type. Okay. This time is referring to... Answer, please. Yes, it's letter A, Cayetano Arellano. Okay. Good job, guys. Next item. Joseph Mandarambong was accused of committing certain crime. Prior to the trial, he files a motion specifying the alleged defects of the complaint or information and he requested details that will enable him to plead properly and prepare for trial. What do you think is the motion filed? Letter A, motion for suspension of trial. Letter B, motion for bill of particulars. Letter C, motion to quash. And letter D, motion for reinvestigation. Thank you. Answer is letter A. Thank you for watching. Dennis Espiritu. Thank you also. Okay. Yes, any other answers? Aside from letter A, I appreciate your effort. Yes, Joy. Thank you. Any other answers? Why do you think it's A? What made you think it's A? What made you think A is an answer for this? Was accused of committing certain crime. Prior to the trial, he files a motion specifying the alleged defects of the complaint. Sabi ng defendant may complaints daw, yung may defects yung complaint or yung information na final against him. B, thank you for that answer. Yeah, I think you're correct. Yeah, the answer is letter B. Very good. Motion for bill of particulars. It's not motion for suspension of trial. Okay, so that is an example of a classic tale of bill of particulars. Number 28. That's correct. Thank you, DG Corpus. The answer is letter B, bill of particulars. Okay, number 28. It is an accepted fact that a police officer has no private life as long as he remains in the police department, whether on duty or off duty, such that he is subject to unrelenting scrutiny and critical analysis of the public he serves. Of the following, the most supportable deduction for a police officer to make from this statement is that letter A, PNP rules should be liberally interpreted in favor of police personnel to offset the higher standard demanded. It is unfair. Letter B, it is unfair since it establishes a higher code of conduct for one type of public employment. Letter C, it indicates the need for more rigid self-regulation by the PNP members that those existed. Letter D, PNP members should recognize it, accept it, and govern their activities on or off duty accordingly. Okay? What do you think is the answer? A few seconds for that. It's blurred, sorry. Kirby, D. Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, very good. You got it right. I think everyone got it right. Okay, yeah. The answer is PNP members should recognize it, accept it, and govern their activities on or off duty accordingly. It's very simple. That's actually part of their oath. Yeah, like you would be officers, that is actually part of your oath and your pledge. Okay, so I don't think we need further discussion for that. Okay, it's clear that letter D is the answer to item number 28. Now, let's move on to item number 29. Ding Dong Dantes is a thief who sees himself in the person of Robin Hood. He imitates the acts of Robin Hood, like stealing goods and money, then gives it to the poor. This situation is explained by differential identification theory, differential imitation theory, differential association theory, differential social organization theory. Okay, what do you think is the answer? We have discussed earlier the differential association, and we are pretty sure that that is not the answer we're looking for. So what do you think is the answer? I'm gonna give you a clue. He imitates the acts of Robin Hood, like stealing goods and money, then gives it to the poor. So he is likely identifying himself. I'm giving you a clue. No, it's not A. And I mean, it's not B. You might want to try. Other answers, please. Not B. Okay. What else? Brian Finyaflor, B. Thank you. I appreciate that. What else? C for Jean. Yeah, that's a nice try, Jean. Okay, thank you. Letter C for Jonelle, letter C. Okay, guys, letter A. Yeah, there, that's correct. Thank you. The answer, spot on. The answer is letter A, differential identification theory. Why do you think that's the answer? That's the correct answer. Because Dingdong Dantes is clearly identifying himself to a person, whether imaginary or a fictional character, in which nilaliken niya, pinapareho niya yung ginagawa niya. So, dun niya pinapareho yung ginagawa niya. So, that is called differential identification theory. Okay, so I'll toggle it back. You try to read it once again. So, you'll get the correct answer. So, why do you think it's differential identification? Again, because in essence, the person pursues criminal behavior to the extent that he identifies himself with an imaginary person from whose perspective his criminal behavior seems acceptable. Okay? So, what does it mean? Kasi, in Filipino parlance, di ba? Ang ibig sabihin nun, bakit differential identification theory nun? Theory ang sagot nun. Kasi dun sa perspective ng fictional or imaginary person or character na yun, acceptable yung ginagawa niya. Yun ang premise niya. Ina-identify niya dun sa person na yun na kung saan yung ginagawa niya is acceptable, is okay. Kaya that is called differential identification theory. It's not imitation. Kasi, di ba, imitation, it's like through observation, ini-imitate niya. And it does not actually involve a fictional character or imaginary person. More on dun sa close sa orbit niya, sa social orbit, ini-imitate niya sa social orbit niya. This one, si Robin Hood, is outside the social orbit of Dingdong Dantes, who is a criminal. Outside ng orbit niya yun kasi imaginary person lang naman yun. Pero pag sa imitation theory, within the social orbit, nakakasalamuha niya, there is a close interaction with the person, kaya in all likelihood, there is a high propensity na yung gawain niya, yung gestures niya, yung attitude niya, yung behavior niya, na-adapt niya din, nagagaya niya din. Okay? We're good with that? So the answer is okay. Thank you for that, Carlo Comita. Okay. So the answer is differential identification theory. Next, item number 30. Among the following theorists who claim that criminality is the result of emotional immaturity. This is highly objective. So, who do you think is the answer to this one? Okay. Answer, please. Feel free to comment your answers. Okay, Ronald. Thank you, Ronald Coral. Baal, for watching. Marvin Castillo, thank you as well for watching. Okay, answers please. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Marvin. Jeremy, it's Abrahamson. What another answer? Emil Durkheim for Lyndon. Letter A, Abrahamson. What else? Brumberg. Abrahamson also. Okay. The correct answer is actually Brumberg. That is actually he actually propounded that na criminality is the result of emotional immaturity, not Abrahamson, not Healy, not Durkheim. Durkheim earlier I've made mention of Durkheim. Durkheim naman is the proponent of anomie theory. Na kung saan sinasabi ni Durkheim na it is the state of normlessness or lack of rules that actually propels individual or group of people to commit crimes and to engage in lawlessness. Okay, so this one, the answer is Brumberg. Next item is number 31. Andy was imprisoned for committing a crime of theft. She experienced adversities of having been imprisoned. Upon her release, she never did it again because of fear of experiencing again the hardships inside the prison. What kind of deterrence is this? When we say deterrence, what does it mean when we say deterrence? Meaning to stop, a stoppage. Meaning to prevent, to suppress. That's what we meant when we say. So, this kind of scheme of design, of approach, what do you think, what do you call this kind of deterrence? Kasi diba maraming approach to crime deterrence. This one is just one of the many approaches to crime prevention or to crime suppression. Okay? So there, the choices, we have a specific deterrence, we have individual deterrence, we have general deterrence, and both A and B. Answers, please. Yes, thank you, French. Bermejo, your answer is general. Letter C. What else? Thank you, Madam Christine Joy Bronda, for watching. Thank you for your time. Okay. So what do you think is the answer? I'll toggle the camera so you can go over the STEM and the alternatives. Okay. Okay, yes, the answer is specific deterrence. Letter A. Okay, so again, this is just one of the many forms or the many approaches to crime deterrence. It is specific in order to suppress, in order to deter, to stop others from committing the same. Andy was actually an example. Okay? Takot na siya, hindi niya siya gagawa uli. Kasi alam niya yung gaano kahirap ng punishment na nakuha niya. Ibig sabihin, si Andy, the offender, nakita niya na yung punishment pala, hindi naman the punishment actually outweighs or overweighs the benefit na nakuha niya out of the offense. Kaya it's called the specific deterrence. Okay, number 2, 32. Police Officer Santos is walking in uniform, performing patrol work, walking constantly and alertly observing persons and things to accomplish crime prevention mission. He is considered as number 1, traditional policeman, contemporary policeman. Thank you. Letter C, rational policeman, and letter D, temporary policeman. Okay, few seconds for you to answer. Ibig sabihin, anong ginagawa ng police officer niyo? Police Officer Santos. Police presence. Like, okay, omnipresence. Hindi na, di ba dati ang tawag is visibility, but today, in the present context, it's no longer called visibility, it's already called presence. Kasi di ba sabi, pag sa visibility, visible lang, pero pwedeng hindi siya effective or efficient sa ginagawa niya. Pero pag sinabing presence, meaning the police officer is making his presence felt by the entire community. Pero anong type of policeman siya sa ginagawa niya? Walking, is a patrol work, walking. Okay? The answer is, yeah, very good. Spot on, Lizzie. Ronald, correct, very good. Traditional police work. That is the work of a traditional policeman. Kasi sa contemporary, actually marami ng mechanisms, marami ng approach ang ginagawa ang policeman. Hindi na limited to patrol work. So that's correct. Thank you for your answers. Yeah, thank you, DG Corpus. Next, number 33. John was sentenced of destiero. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give you a few seconds to read, to go over the stem. I just need a few seconds to drink water.
John was sentenced of destiero, in which he will not be allowed to enter the 250 radius from the place where he committed the crime of adultery. If he will be entering the said radius, is there a crime committed? A. Yes, violation of conditions. B. Yes, evasion of service of sentence. C. No, because he is not serving his sentence in prison. Letter D. Yes and no. It will depend on the judge.
Okay, few seconds. We know what destiero is, right? You might want to start with the definition of destiero. Just to refresh, pag sinabi nating destiero, diba, it's like banishment or like a prohibition from residing within that radius. 25-kilometer radius, yun ang pinagbabawal na yun ang pinagbabawal, or sabi ko nga kanina, it's like a prohibition to stay within the vicinity. That's what we meant when we say destiero. Pero what do you think is the correct answer to this one? To the stem? Okay? A. If he will be entering the said radius, is there a crime committed? Letter A, yes. Violation of conditions. B, yes, evasion of service of sentence. C, no, because he is not serving his sentence in prison. D, yes and no, it will depend on the judge. Okay? The answer is what is our answer? A, violation of conditions. Okay, yeah. Letter A also. Thank you, Sir Georgette. I would like to acknowledge Sir Georgette for your presence. Okay. A, violation of conditions. What else? Okay. Okay. The answer is, actually, this item is very really it's very tricky kasi you might think na it's just a violation of conditions, pero actually may clue sa stem pa rin, sa stem pa lang ma-identify mo na may clue. Statement pa lang, first statement, John was sentenced. So yun yung sentensya niya. Kaya ang sagot doon is he evaded. In essence, he evaded the service of sentence. Kasi yun ang sentence sa kanya pero hindi niya sinunod. Okay? Actually, the conditions is just part of the sentence, which is destiero. So, pag hindi siya nakapag-comply doon, meaning he evaded the service of sentence. Okay? Okay? Are we clear with that? Okay. Next item. Number 34, Xander pleaded guilty for a capital offense. The court will, letter A, the court may receive evidence from parties to determine the penalty to be imposed. Convict him of the offense and impose the penalty. The court shall conduct a searching inquiry into the voluntariness and the full comprehension of the consequences of his plea. Letter D, both A and C. I repeat, the stem goes like, Xander pleaded guilty for a capital offense. The court will. What will be the action of the court? Okay? Few seconds. Joy, thank you for your answer. Thank you, Sir Rocky Opiano. Okay? Answers, please. I'll toggle it back so you can go ahead and read over the stem and the choices. Okay, pleaded guilty. What do you think is the next course of action of the court? The next, yes, that's correct. Thank you, Arnell. It's letter C. The court shall conduct a searching inquiry into the voluntariness and full comprehension of the consequences of his plea. Okay? So, kailangan alamin nila yun backwards and forwards. Kailangan part pa rin yun na alamin nila bakit ba nag-volunteer ng information, bakit ba siya nag-admit doon sa offense na nagawa niya. Okay? Ano ba yung surrounding circumstances doon? So, that's the next course of action of the court to conduct a searching inquiry into the voluntariness. That's correct. Thank you. Jury, DG, thank you. That's correct. So the answer is letter C. Samantha Nicole, thank you for watching. Okay, letter number 35.
Gary, a doctor who because of frustrations forgets all of his past and takes on an unexpected trip to other country. He then assumes a new identity. His name was then changed to John and become fisherman. What do you call this dissociative disorder? A. Dissociative fugue. Fugue. Sorry. B. Dissociative amnesia. C. Dissociative dementia. Letter D. Both A and B.
Okay. Guys, earlier on, I've already discussed what fugue is, what dissociative fugue is. So, I'm actually expecting that you will be getting the correct answer. So I'm gonna give you a few seconds to read over the stem and choose the correct answer. I believe I've already exhausted the discussion of dissociative disorders earlier on. Okay, so few seconds, just comment your answers. Okay? Okay, D, both A and D. D for J. Okay. What do you think is the answer? For crime brands, Pepito, letter B, dissociative amnesia. B. Okay. Pero what is fugue? What is dissociative fugue? As discussed earlier on, Brian, letter A. From what we've talked about earlier on about dissociative fugue, 'di ba? Sabi natin kanina sa discussion, pag sinabing fugue, it's like an individual forgets his identity and even other autobiographical information nakakalimutan niya, and sometimes nag-a-assume na siya ng ibang identity. That's an example of fugue. But how does it differ from dissociative amnesia and dissociative dementia? Okay? Yes, few seconds. B for Roy Garcia, thank you for watching. Okay, yes. Aishang Kabahog, letter C. Okay, so let's check the answer. So, same thing. Okay, this is dissociative fugue. Kasi nakalimutan niya na this actually ang na-attribute this kind of disorder is highly attributed to trauma and traumatic experiences in the past, na kung saan mayroon siyang nakakalimutan sa sarili niya and nag-assume na siya ng panibagong identity. Pero this kind of disorder is actually reversible. Bumabalik naman siya. Okay? Sa amnesia naman, it's also called dissociative amnesia. It's like temporary forgetfulness and then bumabalik din naman. Pero sa fugue kasi, sa dissociative fugue, it's like yung identity niya talaga nagbabago na siya. Nakakalimutan niya na yung dating autobiographical information niya is totally nawawala na. Okay? So that's our answer for item number 35. Next item is, what law is known as the minor probation law? This one is highly objective. Okay? Okay, yeah, it's PD 603. And you might want to define PD 603. What is the title of PD 603? PD 603 is actually the... Anyone? You might want to type in the answer. This is the Child and Youth Welfare Code. Okay, 603 is the Child and Youth Welfare Code. Okay, it's easy. Next item. Number 37, Larry, a certified businessman and a bachelor at the age of 32, is qualified to adopt a child. What should be the age of the child that he can adopt? Is that 16, 17, 18, or 19? The Clarence answer is D. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay. 603, yes, that's correct. Okay, yeah. I don't think we still need to check this. You all got the answer correctly. Yes, that's correct. It's 16. Number 38. Crisis came from Greek word crisis, which means blank. As defined by Funk and Wagnos, crisis is a turning point in the progress of an affair or a crisis of events. What do you think is the answer? Thank you, Sir Omar de los Santos. Thank you for watching. Okay, the alternatives, we have separate, sudden, dipping, and plunge. Okay. The stem is saying like, the word crisis is a loan word. It is of Greek origin, which means separate, sudden, dipping, and plunge. Okay? Answer, please. Okay, kindly comment your answers down below. Letter C, dipping. Okay, yes, separate. Any other answers? A, separate. What else? Jovi, separate letter A. Okay, sudden. What else? Okay. Len for little Len it's D, it's plunge. Okay, B. Separate. Any other answer? Separate also from Pyra, the B. Any other answer, please? Then separate. What else? Thank you for watching, Anna. Amboy, it's separate. Okay. Okay, guys, the correct answer is it's dipping. Okay, why? Actually, thank you, Ate Connie, for watching. Amboy, thank you. As I've mentioned earlier back, the word crisis is a loan word of Greek origin, meaning dipping. Okay, it's direct translation in English is dipping. Okay, this is under crisis. What does it mean when you say crisis? Earlier on, we've tackled this different types of conflicts, the different types of crisis. Okay, pero what does it mean when we say crisis? Thank you, Miss Therese. Okay, when we say crisis, we are actually referring to it's like a situation, and when it's like we are caught up in a situation that is some kind of insurmountable, in which the resources that we have is not enough to conquer the situation that we are into. So that's crisis. Okay. Now here, the literal translation or the lexical meaning of the word crisis in Greek is dipping. Because it's like a turning point, it's like a tipping point. So it's like you've been dipped into that situation that you just find it difficult to resuscitate. So it's dipping. Okay, thank you. Next item, number 39. I'm gonna read the stem. Yes, okay, yeah, please read the stem.
The ultimate objective of police-community relations is to influence the opinions, emotions, attitudes, and behavior of the public so that they will behave in a manner beneficial to the unit. In particular, and the PNP in general, either directly or indirectly, and to solicit blank in order to make it easier for the police accomplish their task successfully. A. Public relations. B. Public understanding. C. Public support. And letter D. Trust and confidence.
Okay, thank you. Okay, few seconds. Yes, that's quick. Jed Giller, letter A, public relations for you. Thank you for watching, Pyra. What else aside from letter A? Public relations, thank you, jury. What else? Public relations also, any other answer? What are they trying to solicit? You might want to start with that question. You might want to start asking yourself, what are they trying to solicit? Kasi 'di ba sabi sa STEM, the main objective daw ng police community relations is that to influence the general populace, to engage and for them to be involved in all the undertakings of the police organization. Diba? They are tasked to serve and protect, to maintain peace and order, to prevent crime. And with that premise, they are trying to solicit what? They are trying to solicit. The answer is, I'm gonna show, yes, that's correct. Very good. Their support. They're trying to solicit the support because they would want the general public, the general populace to understand that peace and order, safety and security are actually a shared responsibility. They want to engage or to involve the general public to this undertaking. So that's why they would love to engender their support. They are trying to solicit their support by influencing their opinions, emotions, attitudes, and their behavior. I think this has a lot to do with the image of the police officer. Public community relations, yan yung isa sa minimediate nila na magkaroon ng magandang image to rectify. I think it cannot be gainsaid that the police image is actually in a rundown condition at the moment, which I think we cannot fault the public if they have that kind of perception, because I think in some cases it has been projected that way because of other police officers failing or falling short of the expectation. Sometimes they are being involved with other lawlessness, kaya nagkaroon ng ganong perception or ang general masses sa ganong imahe ng pulis. So, ganun ang sinusubukan din nilang immediate doon na magkaroon, and for the gap, for the rift, na at least to mend or at least maklose man lang yung gap, na magkaroon ng magandang perception sila. Kaya sinisilicit nila palagi ang involvement ng public. Okay, I think we're good with item number 39. Now let's move on to item number 40. Okay, item number 40.
This is a type of interview popular in social legal research, especially those who do not have background in social research training. Letter A, structured interview. B, standardized interview. C, semi-structured interview. Letter D, scheduled interview.
Okay, this is under criminological research subject. What is the answer? Type of interview popular in social legal research? especially those who do not have background in social research training. Answers, please. Few seconds. Few seconds, please. Thank you for watching, Ken Roz. What else? Villa Blanca Kevin, thank you for watching. Answers, please. B for Linlin, standardized interview. Okay, A for Carlo, structured interview. What else? C, semi-structured. Structured interview. Structured for airage or jury. B, standardized. A for Iron. Ano bang ginagawa pag sa standardized or sa structured or sa semi-structured? Okay, pag sa semi-structured, pag sa structured kasi, it's like the set of questions nakahanda na siya. It's like presented as is to the participants, to the interviewees. Structured na yun. Wala na pwedeng idagdag. Pero pag sa semi-structured, it's like may pwede kang mag-entertain na dagdag. It's like nag-a-adjust yung structure mo dependent or dun sa nag-a-arise na situation. So that's semi. Pero pag sinabing structured, yun lang yun as is. Kung ano yung naka-prepare na set of questions, it will be presented as is to your participants. The answer is, you are correct. That's correct. Thank you for your answer, Joy. The answer is semi-structured interview. Okay. Number 41.
This was used by Delbert Elliott and his colleagues, designed to provide a comprehensive description of the prevalence, incidence of delinquent behavior, examine the causal relationship between delinquent behavior and drug use, and test an integral theoretical model or delinquent behavior. A. National Youth Survey. B. National Demographic Youth Survey. C. National Youth Delinquent Survey. And letter D. National Statistics Youth Survey.
Okay, answers please. Employed by Delbert Elliott and his colleagues, designed to provide a comprehensive description of the prevalence and incidence of delinquent behavior. What do you call that type of survey? This one. Thank you, Joy V, for watching. This one is highly objective. The answer here is actually letter D, National Statistics Youth Survey. No, I got it wrong. Sorry, my bad. I stand corrected. Yeah, it's National Youth Survey. It's letter A. Okay, yeah. It's National Youth Survey. This is actually designed to engender the result, the causal effect, or the causal relationship within delinquent behavior among youth. Very good. Number 42.
Michael is not afflicted with insanity or mental defect, but he is unable to maintain normal social relations with others and the community in general due to emotional problems or complexes. Therefore, Michael is considered as A. Disabled child. B. Mentally retarded child. Letter C. Mentally ill child. Letter D. Emotionally disturbed child.
Okay, answers please. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah. Go over the STEM. Michael is not afflicted with insanity. So, not neurosis. That's nothing to do with mental disorder. Okay, it's just that an individual or Michael is finding it difficult to establish a good rapport and sound relationship with other people, with his peers. Okay, so the stem goes like that. It's like Michael is finding it difficult to establish sound relationship with his peers. So what do you think is the answer? Ella, thank you. It's letter D. Yeah, good job, Ella. D also, thank you. Very good. Spot on. Lahat tama yung sagot nyo. Kasi very good yung ginagawa nyong technique. Kasi sa stem pa lang naman is meron na siyang clue. Kasi sinabi niya siya, it's not actually the disorder is not stemming from mental defect or any form of neurosis or disorder. So from there we can safely deduce that it is actually stemming from emotional disturbance. So that's correct. Very good, Joy. So that's correct. The answer is emotionally disturbed child. And it mentions na emotional problems and complexes. Do you know what complexes are? Earlier on, I also discussed Jungian perspective, the analytic theory of Carl Jung. Di ba isa yan sa complexes na mini-maintain doon sa analytic theory ni Jung? Sabi ni Jung, di ba, our total personality is called the psyche. And psyche has three major components: the ego, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious. Personal unconscious ay mayroong tinatawag na complexes. Ang collective unconscious naman ay may tinatawag na persona, shadow, animus, and anima. So, ito naman sa complexes na sinasabi dito sa STEM. There. Okay. The disorder is actually influenced by emotional problems and complexes. Have you heard of example of complexes? Electra complex. We also have Oedipus complex. And also, but on a good note, we also have what we call the mother complexes, or the mother complex. What happens? Bakit nagde-develop ng complex ang isang tao, ang isang bata? Kasi more than likely, yan yung example sa mother complex. Bakit nag-develop? This one is on a good note. Bakit nag-develop ang isang bata ng isang mother complex? Minsan maririnig natin yun na the child, that person, that individual has a strong mother complex. Paano nagde-develop ang complex sa tao? Kasi it could be na while growing up, yun yung dominant figure sa kanya. Kaya yung actions niya, yung behavior niya is heavily influenced. The actions, decisions is heavily influenced by his conception of the mother. Kaya yun ang nag-develop sa kanya. Ganun, have you heard of Electra complex, Oedipus complex? Si Oedipus, di ba? Have you heard of the story of Oedipus Rex? Okay, so si Oedipus, sa yung prophecy, may prophecy na papatayin yung tatay niya and he will marry his mother. Dahil takot yung hari na ma-prophesy o magkatotoo yung prophecy, pinapapatay niya yung anak niya na si Oedipus, pero hindi siya pinatay nung pinagutusan ng hari. Pero nagkatotoo pa rin yung prophecy. Doon nanggaling yung tinatawag na Oedipus complex. Yung Electra complex, ganun din. Kung saan yung bata nagkakaroon ng affinity or liking. It is Oedipus complex if the kid, the boy, the boy develops a liking or affinity towards his mother, biological mother. Pag Electra complex naman, it's like the girl develops an affinity or liking towards his father. Okay, so that's an example of complex. Okay, next. So the answer here is emotionally disturbed child. Number 43.
Under Article 35 of the Family Code, the following instances from which for sale or attachment of family home can be executed except A. For no debts incurred, B. For non-payment of taxes, C. For debts of those who have rendered services for the construction of the building, D. For debts secured by mortgages and promise on promise before and after constitution of the family home.
Okay, guys. Thank you, John Kyle, Gabriel. Thank you for watching, sir. Okay, guys, comment your answers below. Okay, what do you think is the answer? Article 35 of the Family Code? We're almost halfway done. Letter D for debts secured by mortgages on promise before and after constitution of the family home. Letter A for no debts incurred. Okay, here. The answer is yes, that's correct. Letter A for no debts incurred. Okay, thank you. That's for item number 43. Thank you, Fernandez, Harvey, Len. Guys, we'll try to double time the pace kasi almost 3 hours na, hindi pa pala tayo nakakalahati. Okay, so I'll try na bilisan na lang natin. Actually, I'm only up until 12. I'm sorry, so we do not have the luxury of time. So yes, item number 44.
The following marriage shall be void from the very beginning under Article 35 of the Family Code except A. Those bigamous and polygamous marriages. B. Those marriage solemnized by mayors publicly. C. Those contracted through mistake of one contracting party as to identity of the other. D. Those solemnized without license.
Okay. Letter B for Choi V. Thank you, Choi V, for your answer. Okay. Any other answer aside from letter B? What else? Ano bang meron sa Article 35 of the Family Code? Okay. Any other answer aside from letter B? Okay. Letter D for J? Okay. Okay, ano bang nandun sa under 35 of the Family Code? Actually, clear-cut ang stipulation under 35 kung ano ba yung mga marriages that are deemed void from the very beginning. Malinaw ang clear-cut ang list sa Article 35 ng those marriages that are void, considered void, or deemed void from the very beginning. Okay, so here, the answer is letter B. Those marriages solemnized by mayors publicly. Okay, the following shall be void from the very beginning except, so that is an exemption because letter B is part of the list under 35. If you have time, pwede nyong tingnan yung Article 35 of the Family Code. Malinaw yung listahan dun kung ano ba yung marriages that can be void, that can be considered or judged as void from the very start. Lahat yan ng itong letter B nandun siya. Clear siya nandun. Okay? Next, please.
A compensation which is more than nominal but less than compensatory damages awarded to a person when the court finds that he has suffered some pecuniary loss, but its amount cannot, from the nature of the case, be proved with certainty. A. Temperate or moderate damages. B. Nominal damages. C. Actual or compensatory damages. D. Moral damages.
Okay, answers please. Let's make it quick. Few seconds only. Okay. What's your answer? When you say pecuniary, what does that mean? A pecuniary loss, meaning it involves money. Okay? Suffered from money loss. That's what it meant. Okay? So what is your answer? Okay, there. The answer is letter A. It's temperate or moderate damages. Okay? It's not moral, it's not actual. It does not involve moral damages in any way. So it's just temperate and moderate damages. The key terms there is that he has suffered from some pecuniary loss, meaning money loss. Okay, it involves money. Okay, next item, number 46.
Josh, a 15-year-old boy, committed a crime of robbery together with his friends. They were apprehended and detained behind bars. Josh and his friends are considered A. Youthful offender, B. Juvenile delinquency, C. Child in conflict with the law, letter D. Juvenile delinquent.
Okay, answers please. Yes, answers please. Answers? Letter C for Jessa, thank you. Child in conflict. Any other answers? C, that's correct. Very good. Brian C, also that's correct. Very good. Yeah, okay, that's correct. Okay, actually, your answers are all correct. It's letter D, child in conflict with the law. What made us say that it is letter C? Bakit nasabi nating CICL? Ano bang meron dun sa STEM na naging telltale sign or indicative ng answer natin na it should be C? Because of the 15-year-old boy committed a crime. Ano bang definition natin ng CICL? Di ba, it's very clear-cut. Our definition of CICL is that it's a child. When we say child, it's below 18 years old. Okay, when a child is accused and adjudged as having committed an offense under our laws, that is already, in essence, the child is already considered a CICL. Okay? So the answer, so it's not an offender, it's not a juvenile delinquent. Okay. Pero how do we draw a demarcation line between criminal and deviancy sa ganitong kaso? Kasi 'di ba, actually pag sinabing deviancy, we have two types, we have two forms, the formal deviancy and the informal deviancy. Pag sinabi nating formal deviancy, what we are looking at is actually the violation of written laws. That's formal. Pero pag sinabing informal deviancy, these are mere violations of norms, unwritten laws. Our unwritten laws, our concept of acceptable behavior, of normative behavior, of values are being violated. That's how we draw a demarcation line between deviancy. Pero when do we consider an offender as a delinquent and a criminal? Hi Christopher Uy, thank you for watching. Okay, so ganon yung sa deviancy, okay? It's a formal form of deviancy if it's a violation of our formal written laws, and it is an informal deviancy if it's the violation of the unwritten laws, which are our morals, our concept of acceptable behavior, normative behavior, values, and norms. Okay, so that's it. Next item is
Glenn is unsatisfied on what he has and still wants things that others have. What kind of attitude Glenn has? A. Non-utilitarian. B. Hedonistic. C. Malicious. D. Negativistic.
Okay, answers. Thank you, Zizette, for watching. The alternatives we have. Okay, this stem is quite it's like pretty simple. Okay, we have non-utilitarian, hedonistic, malicious, and negativistic. I've already discussed non-utilitarianism and hedonistic earlier on, so I guess it would be a lot easier for us to answer the stem, to answer item number 47. What kind of attitude Glenn has? He is unsatisfied on what he has and still wants things that others have. Pag sinabing hedonistic, this is our concept of pleasure. Diba sabi ko nga kanina, this is the antithesis of masochism. Kasi pag masochism, they find pleasure in inflicting pain to themselves. Pag sinabing hedonism, we would always want to experience pleasure. That's hedonism. I think we can safely deduce that the majority of the human beings we make decisions solely by basis of hedonism, right? We would always want comfort over discomfort, right? So that's hedonistic in essence. That's hedonistic in nature. Pero what's the answer to the stem? What do you think what do you think the kind of attitude that Glenn is exhibiting? It is, I think it's negativistic. Yeah, there. The answer is negativistic. Okay, because he is like dwelling on the negative aspects in which he focuses on the things that he do not possess, that he does not have. Okay. We'll proceed with item number 48. Which of the following is the highest group of mentally retarded with IQ from 475 to about 89? Do you think is the answer? Okay. IQ ranging from 75 to 89. Yes, D. Okay. Okay. Yes, Joy. What's your answer? Jonathan, thank you. Maria Andrea, thank you for watching as well. Answer? Yes, sir. Answers, please. Letter D for Mr. Yasing. Letter B for Mr. Zaragoza. Any other answers, please? Delta as well. Okay, the answer is, here's the answer. The answer is borderline. Okay, that ranges from 75 to 89. Pag trainable group, if I'm not mistaken, I think it ranges from 102 and up. Kasi below from 35 to 50, I think that is already an indication of retardation. Pag below 50, that is already an indication of mental retardation or intellectual disability. If it's from 53 to 70, it is an indication of mental disability. Okay, thank you. Next item, number 49. I think we can only cover up until 50 because it's already 12 o'clock. I think I'm just gonna find time to do another session for the remaining 50. Okay? Because I'm already up until 12. In a perfect world, I'm only up until 12. Okay? So, I'll just have a separate session for the next 50 items for the discussion. Number 49, Jose and Jessa filed legal separation in court, but the court gave the cooling period for the spouses filing for legal separation. How many months is the cooling period? Answers, please. Okay. How many months? Cooling period? Yes, see? Thank you. I appreciate your presence, Raymond. Letter C, 6 months for the cooling period for legal separation. What else? Yes, yeah. You got it right. The answer is letter C, 6 months. Very good. Spot on. There you go. The answer is 6 months as cooling period for legal separation. Okay, the last item that I'm gonna be covering for today is a recurring behavioral pattern where the offender swings between affectionate, remorseful, and calm behavior to periods of tension that grows into physical, sexual, and emotional violence. The alternatives, we have response cycle, violence will, cycle violence, violence against women. Violence against women there is an outright distractor, so we can just eliminate that. So we are left with 3 plausible answers. What do you think is the answer? Okay, swing between affectionate, remorseful, and calm behavior. The answer, thank you for your answer, Raymond. Yeah, you got it right. It's letter C, the cycle of violence. You are correct. Okay. Yeah, that's correct. It's cycle of violence. Okay. Thank you, Ross. I appreciate. Thank you. Okay, guys, I'm sorry if I've covered only I'm only halfway. I'm supposed to cover 100 items, but I think I'll have a separate session for discussing the few more items, and I really appreciate and thank you. I hope to see you again. Okay, if you have comments, if you have questions, feel free to shoot me a message, and I'm more than glad to answer every questions you have. Okay, now in the meantime, you enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you around, and thank you. Thank you for your time.